Chicago Public Schools remain closed Friday after the city's teachers union voted earlier this week to return to remote learning. The move comes as coronavirus cases, hospitalizations, and deaths surge nationwide. Meanwhile, New York State lawmakers are pushing New York City Mayor Eric Adams to offer a remote option for 2 weeks to allow parents and kids to be properly tested for COVID-19. But Adams and education officials want schools to remain in person, arguing a return to remote learning would be detrimental to students. For more, I want to bring in Mara Koffmann. She is the CEO of Braintrust Tutors, which provides remote learning and tutoring resources. Mara, thanks for being here. So we have heard a lot of educators stress the importance of in-person learning, in-person in the classrooms, and all of the range of benefits that it provides. But as I mentioned, some teachers' unions now are pushing to go back to remote learning. Tell us, what dilemmas are teachers facing right now?
Yeah, I think like all of us, there's a huge amount of instability in our lives, and there is a lack of consensus as to what being safe looks like. And I think that that creates a huge amount of challenges for all of us, including teachers who also have homes and loved ones who can be at risk if there aren't high quality sort of safety procedures and precautions that are in place in these schools, which seems to be a big struggle. I know here in Los Angeles, I've talked to tons of parents that tried to go for the testing that was mandated before the start of school on Monday, and they were faced with endless lines and inaccurate tests because so many test results had to be thrown out. So it's just this challenge of trying to return to learning in person, which is definitely the most effective way to deliver instruction for all of us, but in a way that makes staff safe, that makes students safe, and their families safe as well.
Given what we're now seeing, how might all of this impact a child's learning, given the instability?
Well, and I think the instability is the thing that we need to be most concerned about, because we do have lots of research and evidence that shows there are ways to make remote learning impactful and effective. It primarily has to do with the size of the class that kids are learning in. And if we can deliver high quality remote instruction, kids will continue to make progress. Whereas if we are kind of flip-flopping, we don't have a plan in place, and kids don't know what to expect, the inconsistency of their daily experience and the lack of clarity as to what families can expect and what students can expect can also impact the quality of that in-person experience as well, making it less effective, although it does solve the problem that so many families face of needing to send their child to school so that they're able to do their work, which is another concern that, of course, we all face.
Yeah, I was certainly impressed with my children's teachers and how incredible they were in the remote learning process, and how incredible they continue to be in person. Mara, I want to ask you, because now there are more children than ever who are testing positive for COVID and have to stay home from school for a week or more, or have family members who are testing positive and various protocols keeping them at home. So how is this impacting their learning, and what can parents do to try and keep their kids from falling behind when they are stuck at home?
Yeah, I mean, obviously more instability, right? And instability is not a good thing for any of us. And we already have a situation where so many kids have fallen very far behind as a result of the challenges that we have been living through with regards to the pandemic. And I think the most impactful thing that parents can do is work to proactively supplement if their school is not already offering programming to supplement instruction. I know that we're working with several schools to provide online tutoring for students that have to quarantine and stay home during these periods of time. So that's an option that a lot of schools are putting forth. And being in touch with teachers and working to put private support in place through tutoring or other sorts of online programs, I think is a really important thing, so that kids do not fall further behind and they can really work to proactively fill the gaps in learning that have already been created.
Well, it is really incredible. When the pandemic started, my kids were in kindergarten. Now they're in second grade. Just in 2 years' time, it's it seems for us to be 2 years, but for kids, it seems almost magnified. And there is a lot of research about the educational and social setbacks that many children and teens have experienced during the pandemic. So, Mara, before you leave us, just tell us, what are some ways that parents and teachers can help kids navigate through this difficulty?
I think the thing that has been impacted so greatly for so many kids, I think, is confidence. And, you talk about your kids beginning kindergarten and there's so much learning that happens in those early years that is really challenging, but also so important for building foundational skills that will help them then transition into middle school. And for those kids who had to miss out on the end of elementary school, the transition to middle school has become really, really complicated because there are a huge amount of just these foundational skills that help kids become confident learners. And the most impactful thing that parents and that schools can do is work to both communicate with kids, talk to them about how they feel about learning, where they're feeling confident, where they're feeling more challenged, and also do some assessment work to really measure those areas of need in a more data-driven way and really work to provide additional support to fill gaps. Because if we can help kids feel confident and build a positive relationship with learning, they will be far more engaged in their classroom that they're in, whether it's remote or in person. And, that's really the key to creating a great learning experience for kids, no matter what their ages.
Good final thought. Mara Koffmann, thank you.
Thank you.